Tell us, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Raise the
No?
yeah,
Better?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here. It is my pleasure.
Yeah.
So I am Joaqim Bretcha. I am a guy from Barcelona here in Utrecht in this show. I am the Esomars president, being Esomars the global community of the market research and insights and analytics in the world. So we are present in 103 countries and more than 6,000 members around the globe, but impacting 100,000 people or more in the whole community. And I work also for a Spanish company called NetWest, that we are data collectors in Latam, in Spain, France, Italy, Germany, US, UK.
And what kind of data do you collect?
So we were born as a digital collector, so creating access panels, so people willing to participate in surveys or tasks that we were asking. We're very focused on having them very well profiled and incentivizing them properly in a very nice and fair relationship. And then we moved to the more digital observational. So we acquired a Dutch company in 2014 called Wakupa that had a software that can trace what people do online and mobile, always with consent, of course, informed consent and with the whole information, and incentivizing them, of course. So now we are collecting huge data sets because we can track what people do on their laptop or on their mobile. And this is the way we can observe. We are in this observational, passive data.
Yeah.
Well.
And this morning you had a session here at the ME conference, and you gave the audience a global outlook on the vitality of the data revolution.
Yeah.
So what was that about?
Data revolution. Well, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The Congress of Esomars was in September in Edinburgh, and I like history, and I like to dig into history. So I was inspired by the Scottish Enlightenment in Edinburgh. Scottish Enlightenment was a fantastic moment in which the Scots really had an effect on the world. They changed the world, and just many people, and among them Adam Smith, which I will mention Adam Smith, and James Watt. So I was telling, look, in the first industrial revolution, there was a concept, created a new concept that was the capitalism. A new concept that really allowed the revolution. And the second one was the power, was the steam machine, also promoted by James Watt, a Scottish guy. So we had these two pillars in the fourth industrial revolution. And I do believe that the fourth industrial revolution, the one we are now, it's a revolution that is transforming the way we create, share, and expand the value. It's completely throughout the digital capabilities. Now we have two pillars. And if we look at the mindset, it was capitalism in the first industrial revolution. I believe today is human centricity, having the human at the center. And if we look at the power, is data, as everybody says, power, data is the current oil. But not only data, I would add data, trusted data. So data that you have collected with via the trust of people and doing the things properly. So the two pillars of the fourth industrial revolution for me are customer centricity, people understanding, and trusted data. And who else is better positioned for this than market researchers, insights professionals that have been for more than 100 years treating people with respect in terms of understanding what they do and managing data.
Yeah, and it's not getting easier for us data professionals, is it? With specifically GDPR. Everyone seems to be against us.
Yeah, the cookieless browser are coming in the next few years.
Exactly, ITP, ETP.
But I think this is an opportunity. We as professionals have always said, and self-regulated, putting the bar high. If anybody could do that, that would be easy. So this for us is an opportunity to differentiate ourselves from other industries. For instance, the UK Data Protection Authority just released last June a report saying that they are super concerned, extremely concerned about the amount of data that is being shared without the knowledge of people, and the deep data. That, I mean, in terms of observing what people do. So that was for the programmatic industry, programmatic news and programmatic advertising industry. So many things have been done there improperly. We as professionals in the market research and insights profession, we must do things properly. We have to construct these pipelines in which information or data just travels. Yeah, we must do that, but we must be very, very careful in doing that properly and really respecting the rights of people as citizens.
And how do we do that other than following the law? Is there other things we should do or need to do ourselves?
I always say that we are just in the infant, in our childhood regarding technology. I mean, we have got drunk of technology for the last 20 years. I mean, it was like an Everest. And now we are just waking up saying, oh, whoa, whoa. This is
what happened?
What happened? I mean,
we have a headache.
Yes, it was a hangover, maybe. I mean, technology has really blown us away. Like, wow, we can do so many things. And now we are discovering that so many things also have a cost related to.
Yeah.
So I think that now we are just at the beginning of understanding the impact of technology in our lives. And for instance, GDPR, for me, is just the first attempt to rule this. But I believe that more will happen because we're just in the childhood. Or maybe in the teenage. Maybe you are just now thinking, okay, now we have understood, you know, when the humanity started to be live on Earth, I mean, what was the lifespan was 20 years. So people every 20 years was repeating the same learnings. When we passed from 20 to 30 years, there were some people that had experience and could tell the guys they're 10 years, say, hey, look, don't eat this, don't go this way, because you will have problems. So these people were really, really important to the evolution of the humankind because said, okay, we are learning. So I think we are now still in this 20 years span, and now some people saying, hey, don't go this way because this way is dangerous.
And what do you see happening in like say the next 5 years? I mean, further than 5 years probably really hard to do, but like the next 5 years. What do you expect? Yeah. What are you guys working on for the yeah? What are the project groups within the organization? What are you working on?
So the subject that is really steering the whole industry is the end client, so the end user, because there is a transformation there. I mean, we all know that people want to have better information, to take better decisions in a much more, in a faster way. No? So this determines everything, and indeed cheaper, because there's also this new mindset, which is everything is doable and everything is cheap. Oh, wait, it's not that doable, not that cheap. So what is happening now is that people want it faster and to take decisions. So what we are seeing is that because of this digital life we have and the digital capabilities we have to collect data, every time it will be less necessary to ask for data that we must have already for different, and to spend time to dive into the whys, dive into the why. Well, we observe you are doing all this. Why are you doing? Why do you prefer this? So a combination of observational data plus more qualitative data. And of course, there is now this pendulum from the end client that wants to insource, in the sense that do-it-yourself is a big trend. Like, okay, we don't need to have so many intermediaries, so many middlemen, so we need to insource. And all these pipelines to make the information or the data travel from one side to the other. But for instance, this week, we have two very, very relevant pieces of news. One is the closure of Jamshot. I don't know if you know what it is.
No, do you what?
So it was this Avart. Well, it was this antivirus software that you could install on your desktop for free. Okay, that was to defend you, to prevent you from having virus. But they were in this hall of information terms that they were delivering, they were capturing everything you were doing in your laptop.
So logger.
Yeah. And many people was using that information because it was millions of people.
And what was the name of the software?
I will have to check. Sorry, my memory maybe it's mixed into many languages.
Right. Yeah.
Avar, no, AVAR.
Avar Antivirus.
Sorry, I can't tell you.
Avast.
Avast.
Yeah.
All right.
So this particularity of Jamshot has been closed down. So there's a big effect. And the other one is Google's announcement on closing the third-party cookies ability. So these are very relevant pieces of news for our industry, because suddenly different data lakes will disappear. So how will we react on that?
Yeah. And so your organization is collecting those concerns, I guess, from your members, and then you do research, but you also take this to governments, right?
So Esomars is a non-profit organization for members and companies. So yeah, we try to elevate those interests. And in front of the legislator, our mission is to educate the legislator to make them understand what we do and how we do things, and ensure them that we are in good shape and we are good professionals. We are not doing nothing badly.
So how often does your organization talk to legislators and think, oh my God, they have no idea what I'm talking about?
It's been a very nice process. We have responsible, between Brussels and Amsterdam, commuting. And it's taken us like 6 years to have now a very important place in the European Union meeting. So we were starting talking with, let's say, officers from a certain rank, and we have been upscaling to talk with commissaries and commissaries. You call it commissaries?
Yeah. Commissioners.
Yeah. Commissioners,
and now they discuss things with you when there's a data issue coming up so you can help them understand what it is they're talking about, why people use it, what they can do with it, both good and bad, and if they want to make legislation about it, what would be the good way and what would be the wrong way.
Yes, that's it. We are sitting at the table, which is important. We had elections for the European Parliament just recently, so the whole team changed. So now we are rebuilding all these connections and networking. But now we have the learnings, and these learnings are exportable. I mean, Europe is the most active player, but the rest of the world is also following the pattern. So in India, in Brazil, in Japan, Australia, Singapore, Africa, we are using these experiences and learnings to help also other parts of the world, because Esomars is worldwide. It's a worldwide organization.
Do you feel like politicians are actively reaching out to the organization to get information, or is it still about you guys really need to push this on their agenda?
You mean politicians?
Yeah.
Politicians are very concerned about, in Europe, about citizens and the rights of citizens. And now it's something that's being copied in other countries.
But are they actively looking for information on this that we can or you can give them? Or?
They are aware of the problem and they want to tackle the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like if you want to cut a tree and you just go with the bulldozer and take the whole forest. So we have to make sure that if they want to cut that tree, we just signal what is the tree and how they have to cut it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that sounds like when we just spoke before the recording. Like there's this proposal in the USA that any kind of research, any user needs to give informed consent for that. And that's not only online. That's for every kind of research. Also, scientific research for universities that a participant should give informed consent, which basically kills the whole research because for a lot of those research things it's important that the user doesn't know what it's about, otherwise they already have a bias for the research. But that sounds like the bulldozer.
I mean, we are all learning about the effects of everything. I showed this morning, for instance, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. New York Times in December, they released 8 in a row articles. Very interesting, because there were some people working in different apps in the US that were alarmed by the quantity and the depth of the data they were collecting. So they released anonymously to the New York Times 12 million people data sets of their cell phones. And you could trace everything through, and indeed Trump. I mean, you could really, and there is very nice, these articles you can follow. A ping of
I think in Europe we have this Austrian that goes up against all the big companies, telling, okay, give me your data, and then I think there's a couple of Germans also that requested like all the data from their telecom provider, and basically showing them all their GPS data for the last 5 years, something like that.
But these are not telecom providers. This is your app for your fitness.
That too.
Your app for whatever. It's not even the telecom.
Yeah.
And this is because the technology allows to collect everything they do. So what we have to say, no, you just have to collect this data that has a purpose, and it has to be limited. So
and also, if I install an app, I am not automatically consenting for you to resell that data to anyone you want.
That's it.
I mean, even if you only collect the relevant data, I still don't want you to just sell it out to insurance companies or whatever.
Yeah, and that's also why. So I had a discussion a couple of weeks ago. I was a guest on another podcast, met Nerds on Tafel, Dutch podcast, and we spoke about. I also have ad blockers, and all like a Ghostery or whatever. Not necessarily because I don't want the website I visit not to collect my user data. I'm fine with that. That's fine, but I don't want them to sell it to whatever advertisement party is behind that. And some websites are horrible. You see with Ghostery, they're reporting on all the trackers that are installed. Sometimes it doesn't even fit on my screen.
I just presented this morning some slides about us. We have run 2 studies asking consumers about privacy and how they feel about privacy. The Netherlands was one of the countries, 10 countries. Netherlands was one of them, US, UK, Esomars. And people, so the main conclusion is that if you are transparent, you gain the trust. If you gain the trust, then people are willing to participate and to engage and to share. Otherwise, if you are a bit blurry, people are not, they don't have the trust. So it's a very strong message for companies and brands. Say, look, you have to work in being very clear and teaching people as adults and being clear, okay, we are going to collect this and for this reason, and don't worry, we are not going to do this and this and this.
Yeah. And what is, for Esomar, what are like the main points you're going to focus on, let's say in 2020, for example? Are there specific things or countries or, what is you want to achieve this year?
Okay, my main objective.
Because this is your final year as a president, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we talked about it before the podcast. Yeah,
it's only 2 years. Yeah, it's an election. It's an election process, and it's been fantastic, by the way. So my main objective is to get 2 communities closer. The community that is the more traditional, people coming from the more traditional space of market research, and the community coming from the more data analytics, data scientists, digital, technological part of the equation. These tend to be more new generation, more linked to data, more related to how to work with data. The others come from the generation that they really understand the purpose of the survey, or the purpose of the investigation, or the work. They understand the needs of the clients and understand what are the answers, the good answers that they need to deliver. So I think we have to become more methodologically agnostic and have a very, very open view. Okay, what is your problem? Let's find an answer. I don't care what are the methodologies I will use. What I have is to bring you a valuable answer for you to have the good decision, to take the good decision. So my main objective is to bring these 2 collectivities together to help those people that come from the more traditional space to get into this new era of the digital, and also give the new digital professionals this vision and this broader view of what is this all about. Yeah. Because sometimes we find that this new community is very much into data. They love treating data, working with data, but they need to have, let's say, a superior perspective on, okay, this is useful for what? We need to understand what is the business question that is behind to get the response. Yeah. I mean, with these lakes of data, you can really get to crazy places. You start analyzing, like you find correlations that have no meaning, but you have fun and you go on, and maybe you can take bad decisions. So you need to have, this is why I call it, that we need translators. We need people that can translate these 2 worlds.
Exactly. How do you see the maturity of the industry in Europe versus the rest of the world?
Well, Europe is the traditional market is very powerful, very diverse as well. So let's say US, it's quite interesting. They tend to say that US is more quantitative. The United States is more, okay, give me hard data. I know I want to have a number. Yeah. The US is more, Europe tends to be more like, okay, we have to understand the why. And Asia is jumping, I mean, they have this duality of more traditional, but also jumping into the new digital, like very fast. When I travel the world, I mean, I like to provoke, okay? I am provocative. Sometimes being present is hard, but I am provocative. And when I travel the world...
Is that a Catalan...
That's the Catalan rebel spirit, yeah. The Catalan rebel spirit. So when I travel the world, I tell Americans, look, you need Europeans. we Europeans have to save the world. We are the ones to save the world. So they look at me.
That's gonna go over well.
So they look
You're
at me.
You're making friends.
I mean, I like it. And they look at me. What do you say? Yeah, look. Listen, China. I mean, the three main powers: China, US, Europe. So China treats people like subjects. Mm-hmm. You American treat people like consumers. The only ones that treat people like citizens is Europe. So if we want to save the world, humanity, we have to be strong in Europe, keeping these values very high. Well, be provocative, but in a way, it's a summary.
All right, cool.
Nice.
I have no more questions left.
No?
It's very clear.
Yeah, it sounds like a big. Well, there's still a big challenge ahead, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, 1 year is not going to be enough probably for that.
No, but it's about setting the ship
right course.
in that right course. Yeah. Let me finish with this symbology I was giving you before. I think it's very nice. I mean, traveling the world, you learn a lot of things, and you meet very interesting people, brilliant people. Here, I've met always in the Netherlands. I meet brilliant people I like to talk to. So
we like to hear that.
Yes. I mean, no, yeah, you are a wonderful market, yeah. And so I was in Mexico, and I visited this anthropological museum, which is one of the best in the world, and it's on Mesoamerican cultures. It's amazing. So I got immersed in the Mesoamerican pre-Columbian period. So there was, in 1519, it's when the clash of cultures occurred. So it was like Martians came to Earth, and two communities just clashed. So it was the Spaniards getting into what is today Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Mexico City, and the Aztecs ruling all this part of the world. And the Aztecs were a very sophisticated country, a very sophisticated culture, sorry. And Tenochtitlan, the current Mexico, was like Venice. It was built on a lake, and you have all the canals, and you had all the markets and zoos and palaces, and everything. It was fantastic. So it was two cultures mixing, clashing. So the way they started to talk is because Hernán Cortés landed in Yucatan, which is the south area of Mexico, in Caribe. So he got this slave, imprisoned this lady. Malinche is one of these feminine characters in the story that has changed the world. Few people know. So Malinche, she took her as a slave. She could speak Mayan, of course, she was Mayan, and she could speak Aztec. And then you had another Spanish priest, Jerónimo Aguilar, sorry. He had been shipwrecked there, so he had been there for a while. He could speak Mayan. So they arrived to Mexico City, Tenochtitlan. They started to talk, and the way they talked was Hernán Cortés spoke in Castilian, Jerónimo Aguilar translated from Castilian to Mayan, and from Mayan by Malinche to Aztec to the king. In that moment, the king was hyper powerful. The Aztec king was super powerful, but he used to speak like a child. So when he was meaning, for instance, my people don't love me, he was saying, I am very feared, and people respect me. So he was using this contrary side of...
He was not literally saying what he meant.
Yes, that's it. But you had to know it.
Yeah.
So in this moment they meet, and he says, you Spaniards, you are welcome. This city is yours. And the translation was literally this one, word by word. What he was meaning was, you get out of here. I will kill you all. Don't even dare to do anything. That was a real meaning.
Yeah.
So this bad translation had a huge effect. Huge effect, as you know.
Yeah.
So today,
and at least they did the translation right. I mean, there are quite some videos I think on YouTube, and like this is like a fun business thing to do with your team, just to stand in a line. And then one sentence to the next person, and the next person gives it to number 3 and to number 4. And like after 50 people, it's something completely different.
Yeah, that's it. But that's what we need today in our industry. We need these translators that can really translate the more traditional side with the digital, more techy side, because we cannot afford a clash of cultures. Yeah. We must get together. We must work together to have this holistic view and understanding of people, which is what we are here for.
Yeah, you want to prevent the total shutdown, right? Like the proposal in the US, like saying, okay, we are doing informed consent, no data collection at all. If we get there, that's going to be a really tough time. Really.
Yeah.
We need professionals to know what they do, for what and for a purpose, and this is what it's about.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that for the next 11 months.
I would say I would like Barcelona to win the Champions League, but I'm afraid that's difficult.
Well, I don't think in the Netherlands we have any chance of winning it as well. So no, I don't think so.
Last year was a year.
Yeah. All right.
Let's keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Joaqim, and have a lot of fun here at the conference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.